A $64,000 BMW for 8 grand sounds like a loophole. It isn't. The price lost more than $56,000. The engineering did not. And if you buy the wrong one, the first thing you learn is that a cheap luxury car can still send you luxury car bills. But this is not another story telling you that every old BMW is terrible. By the end, you will know why this 550i became so cheap, what BMW itself asked dealers to inspect, and the one kind of buyer for whom this car might still make sense. Your story begins at midnight. You are scrolling through used car listings when a black 2012 BMW 550i appears on the screen. The paint shines. The leather looks almost untouched. The seller photographed it in front of the kind of house that makes every car look well maintained. Then you see the price. $8,000. You check again because that cannot be right. This was the expensive 5 Series. The one with the 4.4-liter twin-turbo V8, 400 horsepower, 450 pound-feet of torque. A car that could reach 60 miles per hour in about 5 seconds while carrying 5 adults in complete silence. When it was new, the 2012 550i started at roughly $64,300. Options could push it higher. Today, Kelley Blue Book places a typical dealer purchase near $8,000, although mileage, condition, location, and history can move that number dramatically. For a moment, you feel like you found the deal everyone else missed. You did not find a forgotten car. You found a car the market remembers very well. And that is where the listing stops being the story. To understand this price, you have to go back to what made this BMW special in the first place. When BMW introduced this generation of 550i, it gave the car an engine called the N63. It was not a simple old V8 with a luxury badge attached. BMW used what it described as a reverse flow design, placing the twin turbochargers inside the V of the engine instead of hanging them outside the cylinder banks. The layout helped create a compact and brutally effective powertrain. Torque arrived early. The cabin stayed calm. From the driver's seat, the car could feel effortless in a way most ordinary sedans never did. That is the seduction of the 5-in-hand and the Plinade. It does not look like a supercar. It does not demand attention. It simply gives you enormous performance, executive comfort, and a famous badge in one understated package. But compact engineering also means a lot of hardware living in a very tight space. And as the car ages, tight packaging matters. A small component may be inexpensive, reaching it may not be. The original buyer had a warranty and included maintenance. You have an $8,000 listing and more than a decade of unknown decisions made by people you have never met. That difference is the entire video, because depreciation alone does not explain why buyers became cautious about these cars. BMW left a paper trail. At the end of 2014, the company created a customer care package specifically for vehicles using the early N63 engine. This was not described as a safety recall, and it did not mean every engine was failing. But the official service bulletin is unusually revealing. BMW instructed dealers to perform a 6-point check covering the engine's air, fuel, vacuum, turbo sealing, and crankcase ventilation systems, replacing components when necessary. A related bulletin instructed technicians to test the timing chains for wear. Eligible cars could also receive attention related to their 12-volt batteries. Later service information and a class action settlement addressed oil consumption and battery drain concerns for qualifying vehicles. That is the important part. These are not rumors copied from a comment section. They appear in BMW's own service documents, and they turn a clean service history from a bonus into evidence. And this changes the question. You are no longer asking, how can I buy a $64,000 car for 8 grand? You are asking, why is the seller willing to let me? You call the seller. The next afternoon, you go to see it. The car starts. No warning lights, no dramatic noises. The interior still feels expensive. The doors close with the heavy sound you hoped for. During a short, normal test drive, the V8 feels strong enough to erase every sensible thought you had before arriving. This is the dangerous stage because a bad used luxury car does not always look bad. The worst one may be the beautiful example with no documents. You ask whether the N63 customer care package was completed. The seller does not know. You ask about oil added between services. The answer becomes vague. You ask for invoices, not just stamps in a booklet, and suddenly the conversation moves back to how clean the paint looks. That is when you stop inspecting the car and start investigating its story. BMW says owners can check open recalls using the vehicle identification number. For the old N63 service work, build date, and VIN matter because not every car or every production period received exactly the same coverage. A BMW specialist can also look for evidence of completed campaigns and updated parts. This is why a pre-purchase inspection is not an optional extra on a car like this. It is part of the purchase price. You want the engine examined from a true cold start. You want the computer scanned before codes can be cleared. You want service records showing what was replaced, how often the oil was serviced, and whether the previous owner responded when the car first showed symptoms instead of waiting for several problems to meet each other. BMW's own technical information identifies possible warning signs such as excessive oil use, rough running, smoke from the exhaust under certain conditions, and oil-fouled spark plugs. None of these automatically condemns an engine, but pretending they do not matter is how an $8,000 purchase becomes an open-ended project. And then there is the number people love to misuse. RepairPal estimates average annual repair and maintenance cost for the BMW 550i at a little over $1,000 across model years. That sounds manageable. But an average smooths together routine years and expensive years. It also combines newer and older examples, different owners, different mileage, and different shops. An average cannot tell you whether this particular car is one careful owner away from being excellent or one neglected repair away from becoming uneconomical. The history can. And before you decide, you need to understand that this car has 3 different prices. The first is the purchase price. That is the $8,000 in the advertisement. It is the only number designed to make you emotional. The second is the catch-up price. Every service the previous owner delayed is now waiting for you. Old tires, tired suspension, leaking seals, weak batteries, ignored warning messages, and fluids that were supposedly changed but have no invoice behind them. 2 cars with the same asking price can have completely different catch-up prices. The third is the exit price. If the car develops a major problem, what will the next buyer pay you for a 550i that needs work? The same depreciation that made the car attractive can work against you again, because an expensive repair does not automatically add its full cost back to the car's value. This is why spending every available dollar on the purchase is so dangerous. You have paid the first price and left nothing for the other 2. A well-documented $10,000 example may be cheaper than an $8,000 example with 4 missing years of service history. The more complicated the car, the more valuable boring paperwork becomes. And notice what you are doing now. You are no longer shopping by badge, color, or horsepower. You are shopping by evidence. So, is every $8,000 550i a financial disaster? No. That answer matters, because fear can be just as misleading as excitement. A documented car that received the relevant service work has been maintained by someone who understood the N63, passes a specialist inspection, and is purchased by an owner with money reserved for repairs is not the same proposition as the cheapest 550i in the country. For an enthusiast who already has reliable transportation, knows a good independent BMW shop, and accepts that the car is partly a hobby, the risk may be worth it. You are getting performance and comfort that would cost far more in a newer car. But if $8,000 is your entire budget, the answer changes. If this must be your only car, the answer changes. If one major repair would force you to sell it unfinished, the answer changes again. The mistake is not buying an old BMW. The mistake is buying one because it is cheap. Those are completely different decisions. And there is a second trap hiding inside the first one. You may tell yourself that you are saving $56,000 because someone once paid $64,000 and you are paying $8,000, but you are not buying $64,000 of value. You are buying an old car whose market value is $8,000. The original price explains the complexity. It does not guarantee a bargain. That is why the smarter comparison is not a new BMW. It is another used luxury sedan from the same era. Consider a 2013 Lexus GS 350. It was also a serious rear-wheel drive luxury sedan. Its 3.5-liter V6 produced 306 horsepower, and the base price was close to $47,000 when new. It is not as fast or as dramatic as the 550i, and it is not immune to age, neglect, or expensive repairs. But the market prices the Lexus differently. Kelley Blue Book currently places a typical 2013 GS 350 purchase around $14,000. RepairPal estimates average annual repair and maintenance cost at about $592 and gives the model an above-average reliability rating. Those numbers do not prove that every Lexus is good or every BMW is bad. They reveal what buyers are paying for predictability. The Lexus costs more at the door because the market expects fewer frightening surprises. The BMW costs less at the door because the market is asking you to accept more uncertainty. So imagine both cars parked in front of you. The $8,000 BMW gives you a twin-turbo V8, more power, and the feeling that you cheated depreciation. The $14,000 Lexus asks for more money before you drive home, but it may let you plan your life with fewer question marks. Neither choice is automatically correct. The correct choice depends on whether you are buying transportation or an experience. If you need transportation, buy the best documented, most predictable car you can afford. Excitement disappears quickly when you cannot trust the car to do the ordinary things your life requires. If you are buying an experience, then price the experience honestly. Add the inspection. Add the first service. Add tires, fluids, deferred maintenance, and a repair reserve. If the car only makes sense while every future bill is set to zero, it never made sense. That is the real reason this BMW lost more than $56,000. The market did not forget the performance. It did not forget the leather, the badge, or the way the V8 delivers power. It remembered everything that comes after the purchase. And now, when you see that midnight listing again, the price looks different. $8,000 is not the answer. It is the first question. So which would you choose? The $8,000 550i with money held back for repairs, or the more expensive Lexus with less drama? Put your choice in the comments and tell me which used car file we should open next. If you want the real story behind what cars cost, what breaks, and which ones are still worth owning, subscribe to Riven Files.